Hi, I'm Susie, and I design and press cookie press discs. We have more than 250 shapes and over 30 themes, designed and manufactured right here in the United States by our small family-owned company. Now you might be thinking that a cookie press is just for Christmas and Christmas trees, but I want you to think again, because I'm going to show you how to get creative with your cookie press all year long. Hi from sunny Colorado. I hope you're all having an awesome day so far. Today I'm going to be showing you how to use our leaves and trees and Thanksgiving cookie press discs to make some really colorful, multicolored cookies for fall. They'll be awesome for any kind of Thanksgiving desserts you want to make, or even just for some fun in the fall to celebrate all the beautiful leaves we've got falling from the trees outside. I'm going to do this with a regular powdered sugar butter kind of cookie, a regular Spritz cookie, but I'm going to give you an option to make this with some maple extract to turn these into maple cookies, which seemed all too appropriate when I'm using the maple disc. So you'll have a couple of options here, and I'll put both recipes up in the still. Let's go ahead and get started. The first thing I begin with for every blog recipe that I write and every video I do is to remind you all that the first step in creating a dough that's going to press really well and create a light and airy cookie that's going to taste fantastic and melt on your tongue is to cream your butter really, really well. So that's the first thing we're going to do. I'm going to go ahead and take my 3 sticks of butter here and get started getting them on in here and showing you how to cream them. And what you want to look for is for your butter to turn from that normal yellow color that it comes out of the fridge with into something a little bit lighter. It's not going to turn white, but it's just going to lighten up a little bit. It'll form little peaks a little bit, and you'll see that some air has been incorporated into it, and it'll be nice and creamy. The next step I'll do is to pour the powdered sugar on in and cream the sugar and the butter together, because that's how creamed cookies begin. Let's go ahead and get going. Okay, that's a really pretty butter. It's forming neat little ripples, and it's got some air incorporated into it, and that's going to make for a really nice foundation. So I'm going to go ahead and add the sugar and get it all creamed together. Make sure you start out on slow when you're using powdered sugar like this, because I'm assuming that, like me, you don't want to be inhaling powdered sugar. Okay, again, we've got a really nice looking butter here with the sugar creamed into it. It looks like we're making buttercream frosting. And that's always my advice with any kind of Spritz cookie, is to cream your butter and cream the sugar into it as though you're making some kind of frosting. So get your electric mixer and set it on whip or whatever your highest setting is, and just go for it. And just whip it until it looks absolutely wonderful, like you can't resist sticking your finger in there and licking it. And that's how this looks. It's fantastic. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do after we get our sugar creamed in is to add any wet ingredients. And in this recipe, there's no eggs or other liquids except for our extracts. So I've got a tablespoon of vanilla and a teaspoon of vanilla and 2 teaspoons of maple. If you don't want to use the maple, just do it all in vanilla. Let's get it on in. Love the smell of that. The wet ingredients are all in, so we've got our sugars and our wet stuff. And the last thing we have to do in this really simple Spritz recipe is to just add the dry ingredients. And this time it's just salt and baking powder, and I've already actually added it into the flour to save time, so this one's just to show you what it looks like. And I'm going to go ahead and add the flour a little bit at a time, because again, you don't want to inhale flour any more than you want to inhale powdered sugar. So a little bit at a time, fold it in until everything is moist and wet. You don't want to cream it again. You don't want to overbeat Spritz dough, or it's going to get tough. You want it to stay light and airy and wonderful, so just make sure that all that dry stuff is incorporated in. Start with a little bit. Here we go. Okay, I've got everything all mixed in, and we have a nice dough here that looks like a very normal, very good Spritz dough. Spritz cookie dough has a really unique texture. It's not sticky when you touch it, and it's really easy to handle. It's kind of like Play-Doh a little bit. It's a very soft dough, as you can see. It kind of breaks apart easily in your hand, so that you can tell this would stick to a cookie sheet, and then the form would actually break away quite nicely. So you don't want a dough that's too runny or sticky or a dough that's going to be really hard to press. Look how soft this is. This is really malleable. It's not going to be something that's going to break your press or break your disc or be really difficult to press. And that Spritz cookie dough absolutely does not need to be stiff in order to make a cookie shape come out well. So make sure that you keep your doughs nice and soft. It'll make your job easier, it'll make it a lot more fun, and it'll have better results. All right, let me clean some of this up and we'll get to coloring the dough in 6 different colors so that we can make a lot of really colorful, pretty leaves. With the dough all made, the next step is to break it out into as many bowls as you want for your different colors. And today I'm going to be using a bunch of Wilton gel food colorings. And there's a couple companies that make gel food colors. You just always want to make sure that you're using a gel and not a liquid, because even a few drops of a liquid coloring is going to change the consistency of your dough. So always make sure that you're using a gel. And I don't mean the writing gel that you use for decorating cakes. I mean gel food coloring. So make sure that you're getting the right thing. So I'm going to be using six different colors. I tested this idea out the other day, and I really like these color combinations. They turn out looking a lot like the fall leaves I see outside. So we're going to be making 2 different colors of yellow and 2 different colors of orange and a little bit of green and a little bit of red, and combining them all together to make those gorgeous leaves. And some turkeys and some other stuff too. So I'm going to go ahead and get started showing you how to incorporate gel into a Spritz dough. And what you're going to want to do is just take your bowl of dough and take a couple of toothpicks and just go ahead and dig on into your gel food color. And just put some in here. It's a little bit runny today. It's kind of warm in my kitchen. It's really hot here in Colorado for fall today. And use toothpicks somewhere safe, because that coloring will get all over everything. And you just want to put in as much as you think you want. Start out small with not too much, because you can always add more later, but you definitely can't take it out. So just start poking it in. Just poke it on in until it's not going to end up all over your hands or your spoon or all over the kitchen. And just get it started. And then switch to a spoon or your hands. I'm going to end up using both. And just incorporate the color. Just go ahead and just start switching it around in here. And your dough, because this is a gel, is going to maintain its nice spritz consistency. So you don't have to worry about that. Just go ahead and keep mixing it on in. And if you're brave like me, go ahead and just pick it up, and you can use your hands to finish incorporating it. And as long as you watch them really quickly, you're not going to have any staining on your hands. So I'm going to go ahead and pick this blob of dough up and start working it with my hands. Now, actually, I should have a plate here in front of me. Let me grab a plate. Okay, I'm back with my plate that I forgot to get. All right, I'm just going to knead this in with my hands. I'm going to come up towards the closed camera and just show you how I'm just going to keep working it in until the color gets incorporated all the way through. Now, the one thing I discovered when I'm making colored leaf cookies is that I don't really want to make this look like Play-Doh. I don't want it to look like a solid color. I don't want it to look completely artificial. I want it to kind of look natural, really make a neat looking leaf. So you'll see it more in the other colors when I make them, especially the copper orange and the buttercup yellow, which is a little deeper than this. It's a little more mustard color. You'll be able to still see streaks of the color in the dough, and that just looks really pretty when you press them. It makes it look kind of natural, and that's really fun. So there you go. That's how quick and easy that is. So now I'm going to set the yellow dough aside, back in its bowl here, and I'm going to go ahead and mix all the other colors in, and then show you what they look like when I'm done with that, and then we'll get on to combining the different colors of dough and pressing those cookies that have a bunch of different colors worked in. The dough is all colored, and I want to make sure that I take a second to kind of give you a close-up of these and show you just how lovely some of these colors turned out. There's a lot of variation in the copper and in the buttercup yellow and in the green. The red and the orange and the yellow, the plain colors, the less fancy colors, I don't know what I'd call them, look a little more like Play-Doh, but they're going to make a really nice accent in the leaves themselves. So I'm going to go ahead and get started this time with the maple leaf. And I'm going to show you a really cool technique. Got flour and dough all over this. A really cool technique to get all of your colors in a nice proportion. So what you want to do is take a lump of your dough, and I want you to hold up your disc and look at the size and shape of it. And we're not going to fill the entire barrel with colored dough. We're just going to do short little sections of dough. So what I want you to do is kind of roll it into a little log here. It's like a big Tootsie Roll. And hold it up, that's even a bit much, hold it up onto your disc, just like this. And what I'm trying to do is make the center of my maple leaf yellow, and the outside is going to be other colors. So see how I've got it so that the tips here are open. So when I wrap the orange dough around this, it's actually going to end up two different colors. So here we go. So now I know how big to keep my center circle of yellow, and I'm just going to take it in my hand. Actually, I'll just set it down here on the counter, that's fine. And I'm going to wrap some orange around the outside of it. I'm going to start with really, really bright leaves. So what I want to do is just take a lump of orange and flatten it out in my hand. Just don't be afraid of this stuff. Just lay it out in your hand. There's some nice variations in here too, that's going to be pretty. And what you're looking for is something that's going to wrap right around your yellow. Just like that. And then just smoosh it around with your fingers until you've got it all kind of covered from every side. Add a little more if you need to. And now, if we look at it and hold it up to our maple leaf disc, you're going to see that we're getting towards the edges, and see now it's going to have a yellow center, and it's going to have some orange on the outside. But if you look, you'll see I'm not completely at the width of the disc. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add kind of accent colors. So I'm going to take some red first, actually, and I'm just going to start sticking it around the outside. I'm just going to pack it on here. Just get artistic and get creative and just throw on whatever would look kind of good. So I'm just going to take some red dough, and I'm going to take some of that copper dough, and I'm just going to throw it on here. And I'm going to pattern it this time so that it does come out kind of uneven and looking really natural. And I'm taking a look down on my disc to see if I'm getting too thick here, but I don't think so. And even though you can't see it through the pattern of the disc right away, as the dough smushes down while you're pressing it, you're going to find that these colors are going to start to come through, because the colors are going to start to blend into each other, and it's going to turn out really cool. So I'm excited to get pressing this. Alright, so now I've got something that looks pretty good. It is a big old blob of dough sitting here on my maple leaf cookie, and like I said, even though you can't see the red yet, it's going to show up before you know it. So now all we want to do is take our press. Today I'm using my OXO Good Grips press. It's a nice press, works really well. And I'm going to pull the plunger back about halfway. Take off my ring. And I've still even got this attached to my maple leaf disc here. And I'm just going to plop it into the barrel. Get it in there. And if it smushes a little, that's fine. Any dough that's left over, just go ahead and save that, and at the end you can turn it into a nice, real, kaleidoscope of color. I'll let Mr. Bear here hold on to my excess dough. Okay, so now, I'll show you over here, we've got dough coming through. You can see the different colors coming through. Go ahead and push your plunger down so that everything is ready to go, and screw on your ring. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and press this. I did a pretty short bit of dough. Next time I'll do a little bit more, but it's kind of neat to keep changing it up and do different colors. So let me get these guys out of the way so that you can watch me pressing. So I want you to see how cool it is when these different colors come on out. Okay, here we go. Alright, here comes some maple leaves. Now I got to set the pressure in the barrel. What I usually do with non-colored dough is I will press one cookie into the air and wipe it away and toss it back in the bowl to set the pressure and get rid of air bubbles. But this time I don't want to waste any of my colored dough, so I'm just going to go for it. Try and feel for it sticking. There you go. There you go. First one is out. It's a nice yellow leaf with some orange patterning to it. And notice how I'm just keeping a consistent rhythm. This is a 1-click per cookie press, and these are coming out nicely with exactly 1 click. If you find that they don't feel like they're sticking right, go ahead and give it, a click and a half, or if they're coming out too big and not holding their shape, go ahead and do less than a click. The more you press, the more you'll start to feel the dough stick to the pan, and you'll get a real finesse for how to press these. So now I'm out, nothing else will come out, but again, I'm going to save this dough for later, and we'll make a really colorful kind of menagerie of colors. So we'll plop that, Mr. Bear can hold it, and I'm going to give you a close-up. This is what we've got so far. So here's what I've got so far. Some maple leaves, and you'll notice that, like I said, that red and that more copper orange started to come through the further they went down. So now I'm going to go ahead And I'm going to start making another color combination. And I'm not even going to worry about cleaning the press because all these colors are going to blend together and be just fine anyway. So now I'm going to move on to doing some aspen leaves. Here in Colorado, if you've never been out to Colorado in fall, you should come out and visit us sometime, because even though I grew up out east with all those blazing red maple trees with the orange and the red and the incredible, wonderful colors, I really can't get over the beauty of the aspens here. It's just incredibly wonderful. So I'm going to go ahead and do my little cookie dough homage to the lovely aspens in Colorado. And this time I'm going to start with a little kind of worm full of green dough in the center, just to give that little bit of, this leaf hasn't completely changed yet, because that happens a lot with aspens. Oh, they're just such pretty leaves. All right, again, I'm going to go ahead and, I really should have a plate here, but this is clean. And I'm going to go for that really bright yellow again, just because aspens tend to be this incredible golden yellow color. They are just the brightest things. So, I'm going to spread this out in my hand again and take my green. That's still a little bit long. Okay, take my green here and I'm going to wrap the yellow all around it, pretty thick, because I want to make these mostly yellow cookies, because aspens are mostly yellow, really, really bright yellow. And then I'm going to go for this really pretty buttercup yellow. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to drop it first. I'm going to press it out into my hand, same way, and wrap it around. Look at all the wonderful variations in this color. It's going to make for a neat pattern. So we're going to add some of that golden to this so that it's not just a bright yellow. I need a little more to get all the way around. Just go ahead and patchwork it all together. And again, it's all going to come out just fine. So there we go. So this will make an interesting aspen leaf with the yellow and that. I could even add a little touch of orange on the outside of these, because we do get some touches of orange. Sometimes you'll even see an aspen leaf turn a little bit red. Some trees, they get, you know, different color patterns going, and it can be just spectacularly beautiful, especially when we get a little snow on the peaks out here on the mountains. It's really amazing to see the mountains and the aspens and the snow. It's just wonderful. Okay, so let's see what we got here. Where's my aspen disc? There we go. So if I hold it up, you see a mostly yellow aspen with a little bit of green and a little bit of gold highlight. All right, into the press it goes. Let's see, get it about to here. Give it a squeeze so it'll just fall right in. Smush, smush. Get it on in there. Okay, there we go. On goes the ring. All right, press the plunger down to get the air bubbles out and set your pressure. Go ahead and give it a click to get the dough to start to extrude, and let's see what happens. Whoop, that one didn't want to stick. I'm going to just give it another tap. I can feel it sticking. There we go, that was just fine. And sometimes if you feel that something hasn't released, just go ahead and play with how many clicks you've got. That's a really big aspen leaf. Let's see if we can get into a one-click pattern here. There you go. Yep, they're coming out just fine. They've got a nice little, that one pulled away a little bit. They've got a nice little bit of green in there, like they're just at the beginning of turning. They haven't quite turned all the way yet. Like it's the beginning of fall. There we go. All right, almost at the end there. So now I've got a pan full of some really bright maple leaves like I grew up with back east, and some really pretty aspen leaves that look like they're just starting to turn. I'm going to give you a close-up on those guys too. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get these in the oven, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to just make a bunch of different patterns with these. I'm just going to keep experimenting, and when I'm all done and they're all baked up, I'll show you the way the different ones come out, and just get creative. Go ahead and throw these colors together however you want. Make them solid yellow, make them solid red, make them copper orange, whatever's going to work for you, or whatever kind of leaves you think are pretty. Okay, I'm going to laugh at myself for kind of cutting myself off mid-sentence there, because as I was talking about the leaves, I realized we're also going to do some other designs today. We're going to do turkeys and pumpkins and some Indian corn. So now I want to show you how to make those turkey feathers kind of end up in a nice little pattern there. Okay, I didn't make any brown, which I intended to do for the turkey body, so I figured, you know, this copper orange is probably about as close as I can get. So we're going to make the body of the turkey this cute little orange. And this is going to take some finesse here. What you want to do, again, is to get over to your disc. Here's my turkey disc. And I'm going to put just enough of this so that it's going to cover the body and the head. There's turkey body and head. See how I did that? Okay, now that you've got a feel on the base for how wide this should be, kind of keep it even in a column going up. Like I said, it's like a big Tootsie Roll. And then decide whatever you want going outward. And I figured I'd just do red, orange, or yellow, orange, red in a nice kind of rainbow pattern. So I'm going to start going around this. I'm going to flatten it out of my hand like I always do. And just start wrapping it around. Whoops, doesn't want to come up. Okay, so don't make this too thick or you're going to run out of space. So just wrap it around. There we go. Okay, got it wrapped partially around here. And if I pick it up, you'll see there's one stripe going around. So that's the first layer of the tail feathers. Okay, now we're going to go for orange. Same thing. It'll take a little bit more for every color that goes outward because it has a further circumference to go around the other does that are already there. So now I'm going to go for a regular orange. There we go. Wow, I estimated that just about right, didn't I? Good job, me. Okay, I'm going to give it a squeeze because it tends to start to compress. Give it a little squeeze, and then I'm going to put red around the outside, and then we will be pressing turkeys. Real thin layer of red here because there's not a lot of room left. And they're not going to come out exactly perfect. You know, that's the fun part of this. It's just letting it be kind of whimsical and creative. It's a cookie after all. It's not a famous painting or anything. All right, so around goes the red. Squeeze it all together, kind of make it tall again. Don't let it get too short and fat. And try not to wiggle it so that we can stay right on our turkey. Okay, there's the turkey with the yellow and orange and red feathers behind it. And like I said, as it presses and squeezes down, those outer colors will start to come through. And I still need to take my dough from the aspens out and throw it to Mr. Bear. Thank you, Mr. Bear. Okay, back comes the plunger as far as I need it to. Give it a squeeze, drop it in, and the turkey stayed aligned. On goes the ring. Okay, here we go. Reset the plunger again. There we go. Air bubbles seem to be out. I'm going to give it one click to get it started. There comes the dough. Let's see how it works. Oh, darn it. First one didn't quite come out right. There, I saved it. Pressed it right back down. Okay, I'm going to hold these tight to make sure they're coming out. Oh, we missed a few feathers. I'm going to try and piece that one together. And this happens. Normally on a blog, I'd say the first few cookies end up back in the bowl because it almost inevitably happens. So let's see if we can get these guys down. I'm going to give them a click and a little extra push to make sure they stuck. There you go. Perfect. A click and a push. And a click and a little push. Dang it, did it again. But see, I can take the leaves off, the feathers off and set them right down. They look fine. So these are almost taking 2 clicks. So just get a feel for what they're going to need. Does it take 1 click? Does it take a click and a half? Feel it stick to the pan. And if you can really feel some resistance and that there's a lot of dough getting squished onto that cookie sheet, go ahead and stop. Think of this as a dough pump. It's just pumping out dough. It's pumping out dough. Don't think of it as it has to be 1 click, 1 cookie. Just think, well, you know, can I feel it sticking to the pan? And just go from there. All right, so I've got some turkeys, and this one's kind of a misshapen turkey, but you know what? He'll taste good even if you don't want to show him to company. So there you go. We have some turkey bodies, and the feather patterns all go in kind of a circle. Maybe not the most perfect turkeys I ever made, but you definitely get the hint. Just experiment, and after a couple of times, you'll get them really nicely. All of my cookies are out of the oven, and I'm done with this bake. I went ahead and added a couple of candy eyes to one of my turkeys here so that you could see just how fun and festive they are when you give them a little pizzazz and oomph with some eyes. Definitely brings out a little bit more whimsy to your Thanksgiving or whatever fall celebration you might have going on. I'm pretty pleased with the way these turned out with the different color combinations of dough that I used. And I showed you some basic ways to combine the colors, but really it's entirely up to you. That's why I didn't show you every single combination that I did, because it's going to turn out different every time, and that's totally okay. The whole point of this is to go ahead and get creative and to use your imagination and see what turns up. Some of them you'll love, some of them you'll go, well, that's a little strange, but that's okay because they all taste just as good. As I always do, I'm going to take some close-up photos of these just like I do in my regular photo blog, and that way you can see the different color combinations and what might inspire you. So, we're done for today, and I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did, and as always, happy baking!